Don't thank God for everything. Thank Him in everything.
Yeah.
In everything. Whether it's positive, negative, or not. No matter what you woke up, you got another opportunity to chase whatever vision you got. That's a blessing. A lot of people didn't wake up this morning.
Why is like worldly music so bad? It's like I can't keep on like seeking God, asking God, like, Lord, like, allow me not to curse, like, do all that stuff. Then I'm putting on Travis Scott, Lil Baby, Drake, you know, like
trash in, trash out. You ever do something cringy and then like you go to sleep and you're like, oh, I can't even think about that, man. I really just did that.
Like you knew me when I was little.
My grandfather also was very big in that, right? Rest in peace his soul. When I was younger, he goes, son, make sure you think with your big head, not your little head.
Biggest thing. Silly with your willy.
Yeah.
Right, you're the person who told me that for the first time.
Two things that kill a man is greed and women. Right? It'll kill you. Right? So think with this. With God on my side, I'm unstoppable, I'm irreplaceable, I'm immovable. Saying that is very powerful words because there's going to be some things that's going to try you. 2 Timothy 2:15 says study for thyself. We can go to church, we can listen, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you got to study for yourself, right? Understand the word for yourself, interpret it yourself, take your own notes.
It's so hard and unfortunate that like how Jesus is just misinterpreted by so many people based off of religion. And not what it actually is, which is their relationship. People don't know that, which sucks. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Pray About It podcast. Today is a very, it's just about every episode, but it's a very special episode. I'm here with someone who I feel like is very wise, has a lot of things to teach me, and I'm excited for this conversation. I'm with
Dexter Hamilton.
Woo, applause. Yeah, whatever. Taylor's in the background. She's existing there. Wait. But I got a lot of things to ask you, and like a lot of like conversations that I want to get into. But first, share anything about yourself. Fun fact.
So first of all, as I said, my name's Dexter Hamilton. Born and raised in South Florida. Grew up playing sports, my passion. Really was into sports all the time. I went to public elementary school, River Glaze Elementary. I went to West Glaze for 2 years. Then I transferred to Calvary Christian. I'm a recent college graduate. I just graduated my bachelor's in accounting, pursuing my master's in CPA. Very passionate about that. Love my family. Family's a big part of my life. And yeah, man, I day by day, it's been a grind for my life. So it's pretty cool. But just every day, just trying to get better, get 1% better every single day, and set my dreams and goals, and one day reach them. So
that's real.
Yeah,
that's good. A lot of achievements, good mindsets with that. So talking about like with your achievements and everything, I want to know about your testimony and what you have to share about that, because I feel like obviously, like, you know, God has played a big part in those things with everything, with family also. It's like, what's like, how does your testimony affect these things?
So I'd say growing up, I was always like going to church. I wouldn't say it was a requirement, but it was just a part of what the Hamilton family does and do. So every Sunday we go to church. Youth group events, I was always involved in the youth group growing up. And so that was always a big part of my life. I always knew God was real. I knew He was present, but I never had a relationship with Him. I was baptized when I was 12 years old in July. Actually, I think it would be about 11 years since I've been baptized. That happened in July. I think it was July 14th, if I'm not being mistaken. Somewhere around there. Yeah. Me and my sister got baptized the same year, actually. But, you know, I knew who God was. I was the Bible was always a big part of my family. It was always our firm foundation, but it was not necessarily preached, nor was it always the first thing we thought about in our daily lives. So, like I said, sports is a big part of my life. So, every weekend I was on the road. I was always traveling. So as I got older, in middle and high school, I missed a lot of youth events. I was always chasing the orange ball. That was my thing. hoops was like my life and also my education. But
was it hard to like kind of like, did you feel like you were missing out a bit on like youth and like having to measure with that, like youth and then sports?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I always say like I never really had a normal childhood when it came to my sports, right? And balance with being a kid. I would say there was always a high expectation for me and whatever I did. And I also always had a high expectation on myself. So I'm a perfectionist. So everything I do, I feel like I have to be the greatest at it. I have to put my best foot forward.
Right.
And nothing else is acceptable. So, and that's in my education, that's in my friendships, that's in my being a son, being a brother, everything. I always feel like I had to strive for perfection. Right. So it definitely had there's a problem with the balance between me being a kid and also being a student athlete. Right. So I never really, I'll just give you my schedule. So in high school, I think I was freshman at Calvary. So I wake up at 6 a.m., go to school. I'm in school from 8 to 3. At 3:30, I have a weight session from 3:30 to 4:30.
Nuts. I remember after school for me, can't wait for like after school naps.
Yeah.
Like, those would hit.
Those didn't exist for me. So it was, and if it did, it was in the gym,
right,
on the floor.
Yeah.
So I have weight training from 3:30 to 4:30. And then after that, I would have school practice. So say that was at 4:30, right? But we really didn't have cars, so we had to walk everywhere. So we would walk from one campus to the next at Calvary. Then we would work out, and then so that would be till 6:30. And now after that, I have AAU practice at 8 at the same gym. So it would be like 8 to 9:30. So then I would get home. It would be about 9:30, 10, and then I have to do my homework and get ready for the next day. And it was 5 days a week like that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a lot. Wow.
So, and then in the spring, I used to have tournaments like different places. So Philly, Georgia, Orlando, Vegas, everywhere. So I was always on the road.
Yeah.
So I would do that 4 days a week, and then I would be out of school, and then I would be on the road on the weekend. So it was like a full-time job. I would even say more than that. So it took a lot out of me. But I learned a lot. I don't know, like, let some lifelong friends that I wouldn't change it for the world. But to answer your question, yeah, it was definitely like taxing on my mental, and like just being a kid, it was hard a lot of days. But you know, it taught me some good habits. It taught me perseverance, determination, overcome adversity. So that's a lot of the tidbits that I got from, you know, just that whole process.
Yeah. Did you feel like you lost, like, I'm not gonna say like a part of your childhood, but like in a way, like that was your childhood basically? Yeah,
but I have a belief in like you get what you ask for, right? I asked to be great. I asked to play at the highest level. I asked for, so one thing I always say is you can't ask for something and then not do what it takes.
With it.
Exactly, not do what it takes to get there. Or, for example, we all pray, we ask God for this, and that. But when the opportunity presents itself, we don't want to do what it takes in order to get to our blessing.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, it's like I asked to play at the highest level. I asked to travel. I wanted to travel and play basketball against all kids across the country. So there was a certain work ethic that went into that. Yeah. There was a certain level of commitment I had to have to that, and there were sacrifices I had to make along the way. So, and I can apply that. I apply that to everything. So in anything, nothing that you're ever gonna get that is great or above average will come easy, right? So whatever you do, I feel like like you can't have normal habits and become a great person, right? If you
gotta go the extra mile.
If you have C habits, you're gonna be a C person. If you have A habits, you're gonna be an A person. But along the way, there's also balance. There's also grounding within that. But you cannot ask to have a great life and have subpar habits. For example, if you want to be a straight A student, you can't study like a C student. Right? You got to study like a straight A student, which may mean overtime, which may mean you're missing out on certain hangouts. You're missing out, you know what I mean? So it's all relative in what you want. So I feel like the balance of me missing, I guess you could say, a part of my childhood was exactly what I asked for, and God granted that, right?
So you ask and you shall receive.
Exactly. Yeah. So I asked for it, and He definitely gave it to me. So but
after high school, like, you know, like with college and everything, like, what do you think, like, it eased down a bit, or like what happened after that?
So after high school, that's a whole nother story, but I guess we can get into it now. So I wouldn't say it eased up. I would say it actually shocked me a little more, because after high school, I went 1,500 miles away.
Right.
So I wasn't in Florida anymore. Like I said, born and raised down for 18 years.
Yeah.
I upped and went to Massachusetts, Western Mass, basically New Hampshire. So I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I'm the only one there.
I heard a lot of stories about this.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was an experience in itself, and I guess the habits that I cultivated throughout those like years of my early childhood helped me then, but I had to take it to another level. Right. That's where that I felt like I was already giving max effort, and I had to give even more of a max effort. Right.
It's funny you say that, because like I'm currently going through this right now, where it's like every new season that God brings me in, I have to go an extra mile now. Like I need to like stay caught up with like everything that's going on. Because if I just sit back and like go stay in my old habits that I used to do, I'm not gonna like move forward. It's
100%.
like, you know, I gotta keep on like going more and more, like that extra mile.
It's funny we talk about that, because last night we just had a men's meeting. A couple of my friends, a couple of my dad leads it. I'm part of it. A couple of people that we know are part of it, and our 3 words, and that was elevation, commitment, and discipline. Right. And so we broke down those 3 words and what scale will be important to us, right? Like what scale, like on 1 to 3, like what's more important to you, discipline, commitment, or elevation? And I heard a couple different perspectives. So my perspective was always that discipline would come first, because I feel like discipline is something that is a firm foundation of your life, right? You can't just wake up and say you're going to be disciplined, right?
But it's doing the things that you hate. That's the thing. I've learned that, especially now, like moving on my own. Like there are a lot of things that I don't want to do, but like now, like I'm my own person. Like no one's gonna do. I can't baby myself. Like you know, like I gotta like do those things I hate. But until like it becomes a habit.
Yeah.
You know.
Of course, and that's where that like discipline comes in. So for me, I put discipline first, because without discipline, you don't even know what you're going to be committed to, because discipline is something that you have to build upon every single day, right? That's the decision of, am I going to go to church, or am I going to sleep in?
Yeah.
Am I going to go work out, or am I going to sleep in, right? It's those little things, right? But along the way, you got to be committed to something. You got to understand what your commitment is, and what you want to elevate yourself to, right? So that's why I put commitment second and elevation last. But also along the course, I heard a different perspective that really sparked me. Talking about how to put elevation first, because first you got to be able to elevate your mind to the level that you want to get to, and then have the discipline and commitment along with that. Right, because
like the motivation.
Right, because you can't get better if you don't first dream it or imagine it. Like, you can be disciplined and committed like every single day, and this makes sense because this is something I struggle with. Right, sometimes it gets hard. It's hard being in routine, because you can just be going through the motions. Right, just like we can go to church and we go through the motions. Right, we're not really building a relationship, which is what I feel like I did before my change when I went away to school and when I came back. But I guess that's part of my testimony, but it's kind of crazy how it all happened. But I guess you could say when you first, you have to elevate your mind to be to a place of saying like, okay, this is where I want to be in X amount of time, right? So now I have to be disciplined enough and committed enough in order to get to that place. But you can't have one without the other. You can't have discipline and commitment and not have elevation. You can't have elevation and commitment and not have discipline. They all go, they're like a rope, right? And if one of them flips, everything drops.
Right.
So
that's true. And it's good that you could obviously add that with like, your walk with Christ. You're a very disciplined person, so like discipline is completely necessary for a relationship.
100%.
That's really good.
So, but getting back to your original question, after I left high school, got into a lot of crazy things out in Winchendon, Mass. Shout out to my Winch boys if y'all watching this. Man, got into a lot of crazy things, and just trying to I had the freedom to, like, I felt like the world was mine, like, do whatever I wanted, right? I felt invincible.
Yeah.
Right? So when that happened, it was like, man, I just went off on a tear, like, it was nuts, right? And I went there for hoops, but it turned into a whole different experience, right? And this is where I realized that the ball or things of the world could fail me, right? And so I went there, played. I was getting some good looks, good offers, right? And then this was the year that COVID hit as well.
Right.
So then I played, broke my ankle, boom. Right. I'm thinking, I'm like, man, I'm gonna get these offers, I'm gonna be good, right? I'm doing well, I'm texting my dad, everybody happy.
Yeah.
Boom. Right?
Yeah, it just ends.
You think you're in control of everything until, you know what I mean? But before that, I wasn't taking into account smoking weed. I was drinking every weekend, being disrespectful, like, not just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just not just being a degenerate.
Just the world took over.
Yeah, just for whatever reason, right? But a lot of mental health things went into that as well. That was the first time I was away from my family.
Right.
I was depressed, lonely, especially after the ball got taken away from me. I got hurt because that was the only reason I went up there.
Because that was your life.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it was a lot of dark nights, a lot of thinking. Then I came home for COVID. COVID hit in March. And after COVID hit, I kind of went to an even darker place, right? Because I didn't know what was next. I had no offers. I didn't know where I was going to school.
Yeah.
I was 20 years old, and I'm just like, man, like, this junk crazy. Like, I don't know what's left. I don't know what's up and down, right? Came back to a firm foundation, though. My family and everything, and that's why it's so big to me, right?
Right.
So, went to school, got an opportunity, boom, right? My first year, stood the same thing, right? And my first year at four-year university. Did the same thing.
Yeah.
And I came home again, and it was funny because God really showed me that He's in control of of the entire narrative that we call life.
Right.
Whatever we call success, whatever we call failures, whatever we call, He's in control of the entire narrative.
Yeah.
From bottom to top.
Nuts how His plans just completely from ours.
And we have no control over it.
Yeah.
So some things happened with my family, and some things were going on with me. I got injured, I tore my hamstring. I still wasn't playing. Some things happened with my family that was very, very hard for us to swallow. And so it was a rough 2021, and I had to turn back to what I had always went to every single week growing up. I had no other option.
Yeah.
It was either I sink deeper into this bottomless pit, or I gotta find somebody to grab my hand. Right. Yeah. Everything on earth had failed me.
Right.
Not really failed me, but
it just didn't satisfy.
It didn't satisfy it. Yeah. There was no drug. There was no drink. There was no friendship. There was no nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to grab to the only thing that I hadn't grabbed yet, right? I grabbed everything else. Girls, drinks, drugs, family. I tried to grab everything, right? When I started grabbing at that, it was tough, right? Because now you got the Holy Spirit speaking to you, right? So now you're battling
mad conviction.
You're battling so many things, right? You and you don't even know what's going on. But I prayed for that, right? I prayed for God, man, I don't know what's going on, but I have nowhere else to go. Yeah, I need you right now, right? And it also helped that kudos to my dad. My dad is probably my best friend, right? No matter what's happened, I've been there for him, he's been there for me, and we've always been able, my whole family's been there for me, and we've been there for each other, but I've always been able to go and talk to him about any and everything, right? It's always been an open door. And when he was going through what he was going through, and I was going through what I was going through, we had each other. So that's very, like, it's hard to fight a battle when you're the only one.
Yeah.
But when you feel somebody fighting with you, it's like, all right, bet, like,
yeah, you're not alone.
I can do this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So he kind of spearheaded it and was the leader in that, right? And we toss things off each other all the time. If you look at our Instagram DMs or our text messages, constant motivation, constant scriptures, like just daily motivation, right? Because it's hard, right? It's hard sometimes to get up and be like, I still want to chase this, right? Because life happens, right? Devil starts speaking. It says in the word, he prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour.
Yeah.
If you break that down, that's scary. If we see a lion out there trying to prowl around,
but like a roaring lion,
he's
not a roaring lion.
No, he's not a roaring lion, but he seems so. You know what I mean? That's a key point. I never even took it like that. Like a roaring lion, he's not. But from the naked eye, I don't mess with that.
You can get to it. A question I want to ask is, like, one thing is, like, how do you understand whether, like, it's the enemy tempting you, or, like, it's just, like, God trying to, like, have something for you? Because I understand, like, our plans sometimes wouldn't go align with God's plans, and God's not going to put us something that doesn't, glorify his name or doesn't benefit us. But, like, how would you decipher whether it's from the enemy or it's God, like, trying to, like, tell you something? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know. I still struggle with it every day, right? Because I believe in the small voice and the large voice. Now, I can tell you this. You can decipher it depending on, like, for yourself, right? And I also believe in, like, praying and you'll receive an answer, right? And something, God sends vessels left and right, right? So I believe in, if I pray about it and I ask for him to send me a sign, send me a message, I'm very big on that. And it'll come to me, right? But it may come to me from something that I'm not even in my worst. I may be in the middle of work flipping papers, and someone could say something behind me, like, so wise, and that could be the sign, but I'm not paying attention, right? So I believe in those vessels, right? I believe in those are the small voices that we must pay attention to, right? That's how to decipher. The thing that's playing in your head the loudest, 9 times out of 10, is not that voice, right? That's that devil, like he's being a lion, shouting in your brain, right?
Like, if I feel like it's coming in my head, that's the enemy. If I feel in my heart, then I'm like, okay, that's God trying to tell me something.
Exactly. And it's gonna be that one minute thing. I've heard something wise from a homeless man on the side of the road, right? And that helped me answer a question, right? But what if I didn't reach out? What if I feel like God sometimes puts that spirit in me, and I do this a lot. Man, I'll go in my pocket, I'll be like, man, I got $10 left, let me give this dude that. Right? He may tell me, like, thank you, but he may say something after that.
Something like that crazy happened where maybe, I think in November of last year, there was this guy, like, by Walmart, and I was, like, driving by, like, whatever. This is when I'm, like, actually, like, first started walking with Christ. And I'm, like, looking at this dude on the side of the road, and he has, like, a book. I could tell that book has a lot of words in it. I'm like, he's reading the Bible. So I'm like, I feel led to go talk to him. Talk to him, whatever. And I'm like, hi, like, how are you? He's like, oh, I'm good. And I'm like, oh, like, is he reading the Bible? He's like, yeah, like, want to agree with me? And I'm like, I mean, like, I was getting out of my comfort zone of it. I'm like,
you brave.
Yeah. I was like, what you reading? He's like, oh, like, I'm writing down all of the Psalms right now. This guy had a whole giant, like, paper where it talked about all the Psalms that talks about good and bad, literally written down. And there's over 150, like, something like that of them. Like, that's a lot. And I'm like, dang, this guy's dedicated. And he's like, he was telling me something. He's like, listen, I might not have a house or a roof under my head, but I still got God, no matter what. And, like, no matter what position you see me right now. Kevin, this guy had a paralyzed arm, and, like, he couldn't really do anything. And he's like, I still got God, though. I have my Bible, and that's all I need. And I'm like, that's insane. Like, that's crazy amount of faith.
That's power.
Insane amount of faith. And that taught me something. And he's like, what's your name? And I'm like, oh, my name's, like, Nikki. He's like, oh, my God, like, that's insane. I'm like, what? He goes, like, my brother passed away, like, a month ago, and I've been missing him so much, and I've been asking God, saying like, you know, like, please, like, tell me if like he's in heaven or not. And like his name was Nikki also, and like seeing you, like how like you're like so open to hear about this and coming up to me, that makes me so happy. And I'm like, wow, like that's insane. After, you know, I got him some stuff and everything, but like it, no matter what, like from anyone, someone on the side of the road, like, you know, we could still learn from something. Everyone is like, roof or not, like whatever, like everyone is equal. We're all in God's image. But yeah, like it's a crazy
that and that experience says a lot. Like things like that, like that's a vessel, right? And if you didn't follow that small voice that said first go talk to him, you would have never heard that tidbit that like kind of like added to what the things to change your life,
right?
So like that loud voice and that small voice, like that's that small voice, right? And it led to getting an answer, right? If you, whether you had a question or not, like it led to.
Also, I feel like the way God tries to speak to us, like if it's tugging on your heart constantly and you're completely ignoring it more and more, but it's tugging it louder and louder, I feel like that's when God's trying to tell you something.
100%.
You know?
And he can tug so hard and you can ignore so much that now he says, all right, lesson. Right? So, and I've seen that happen multiple times, even to me, right? Like, he can tug so hard, he could tell you one thing, so, and then, whoops, you want to listen? Bet. Right? We're going to let this deal with you a little bit. I don't believe God has bad things to happen to you, but
sometimes we need, it's like, you know, like the father, like child aspect. If we're not listening to our parent when they're trying to tell us something, obviously there's going to be some kind of discipline that's going to come with that. At the end of the day, they want what's best for us.
100%. And at that point of discipline lets you know, like, look, like, I try to tell you X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, they're still going to love on you. They're still going to care for you, and they're still going to make sure you're straight. Right? So I feel like that's the same thing with God. Like, hey, I'm going to tell you once straight. Hey, don't do that again. Don't do that. Boom. Right? So hearing that difference from that loud voice and that small voice, I think that's also up to us. Like what we listen to, what we tapped into, how peaceful are we, right? I've noticed something like in my car, I only listen to gospel music or the radio's off.
No, 100%.
Right? Because that's time for me to be in my mind with God only, right? And I feel like that's the time where I can think, right? And I feel like the energy that surrounds me, right, when that happens, because a lot of times you feel real lonely on the road that you walk in, right? It can be a really lonely path. You just got to stay straight and keep your eyes on the prize. But I feel like in that moment, no energy around you may be beneficial for you at that point. You know, that it might be attacking you 25 different ways, right? Trying to get you off. There could be a person that just flicked you off on the road, honked at you. You could be late for work. You could have got a flat tire. You never know, right? But just keeping that constant energy and that vision on the prize, right, on what he wants us to do, that in itself is so renewing. So for me, it's like, man, like I don't want to hear anything else. Like, why do I want to disturb my peace, right? I gotta stay on that line, because at a point, it can get to a point where that's all you got. And this is my last one thing I wanted to say. One of the songs that I listen to, right? It's I forget who it's by, but it says, "Why do we all turn to God when something bad happens? Like, why don't you praise him in advance? Why do we wait until we're broke, until we lose our house, till we lose our job, to now get on our knees and call to God?" That's
the thing. It's like the aspect of like, say like, you know, you're God, obviously whatever, but like, and you know, oh, you're a friend, whatever. we just add an example, and like, I'm only hitting you up. Hey, can you give me some money? Hey, can you do me this? Whatever. I'm not a friend. I'm using you for something. That's when I had that revelation. I'm like, dang, like I'm only coming to God when I'm in need of something. Like, who am I to come to you? Like, you know, like I don't deserve that. You know, if anything. But like, that's the thing. When a relationship comes, when it's a two-person, like when two people put in the effort, and that's when it actually starts and everything.
100%. So, and that's the thing right there. Like, we can't like expect God to be there at our beck and call every single time it's hurting. But every single time we good, we talking about it's me. I did this. I'm him. Everybody was like, I'm him. Like, what? Like, but
bro literally said, I'm the Omega and Alpha.
Yeah.
He's the original him.
So if you want to talk like that, then talk like that when it's bad.
Yeah.
Right. So, but my thing is, man, like, I heard something also. It said, don't thank God for everything. Thank Him in everything. In everything.
Yeah.
Right. Don't thank Him for everything. Thank Him in everything. Whether it's positive, negative, or not. No matter what, you woke up.
Yeah.
You got another opportunity to chase whatever vision you got. That's a blessing. A lot of people didn't wake up this morning.
Right.
There's a statistic that say every day 160,000 people go to sleep and don't wake up.
Wow.
Right. So like, it's a blessing in itself just to be able.
You can come. You're good. Yeah.
It's a blessing in itself just to be able to wake up and breathe. Right. Like, I'm starting to get to that point.
Bro, it's insane how, like, you know, and like we're all guilty about this, but like how in everything we take everything as an advantage. Like you said, just waking up is a blessing. Like it's so normalized. Like, you know, I get to wake up. I saw a video like, I wake up, that's a blessing. I go on my phone in the morning, that's a blessing. I have a bed, that's a blessing. I have a roof, that's a blessing. Every single little thing, it's a blessing.
It is.
And like we take advantage of that.
And it's funny. So Inky Johnson, I don't know if y'all know about him, but he a most motivational speaker. And he said something one time, and it hit. I listen to that podcast a lot. It's on The Pivot. If y'all want to watch The Pivot, great podcast, right? Inky Johnson. It's about, I don't know how long ago it is. It might be 2 years old, the podcast, but really good. First 25 minutes, awesome, right? This is a dude that played football, basically got paralyzed on his right arm, playing football, was going to go to the league and had to figure out a way to make it, right? He had a quote in there that said, man, nothing matters when everything really gets real, when something real happens. He was like, yeah, we sit here, we talk about cars, clothes, shoes. Man, I'm paid. I got paid. I did this. I'm going here. I'm going that. But as soon as something real happens, right? Like this is the examples he used. Like your wife gets sick, she's in the hospital. Your son get diagnosed with cancer, right? Something drastic happens. All of a sudden, none of that matters.
Yeah.
Right? None of that materialistic, none of that stuff matters. But what does matter is your aura, who you are, the energy that you put out in the world, right? How your relationship with God. That's what matters at that point, because what else do you have to lean on?
Right.
Nothing else can help you but God at that point.
Yeah.
Right? It don't matter if you're a billionaire, millionaire, it don't discriminate, right? We all say we want to go to, one thing I say is, a lot of people say you want to go to heaven, right? But I want to go to heaven too, but I want as much time on this earth as I can get. Right? So for me, it's like, death don't discriminate. So when that come in the picture, that's something real, right? What do you turn to at that point? What do you lean on in that point? What stock have you invested in order to deal with that situation that's affecting your family, that could affect everything else for the rest of your life, right? So for me, that hit. And it's like, you got to invest in a stock, right? You invest in stocks, it's supposed to appreciate, right? It's supposed to gain money, right? We're supposed to invest in ourselves, right? We got to invest in our relationship with God, right? We talking about we can't give him 10 minutes when we wake up to vote in prayer, right? Man, he just woke you up. He could have looked at you, next, right? Not woke you up, right? You don't work your lungs, you don't work your heart. Who makes that junk work? They say science, but come on, man.
Bro, science is God. The past science is God. Anyways, no, but that's wild. No, it's just the fact that like every single little wow.
Everything, man. And like when those big things happen, man, you gotta like really like sit back and think about that. And that's kind of the realization that I came through over the last like year or so.
Yeah, I always say like I'm never gonna say like God like allowed bad things to happen, because realistically, even though we might look at it as a bad thing, it's gonna lead to something good.
100%.
It's just having the faith to like get through that storm and see the bigger picture outside of that.
100%.
But like the things that like God has for us, like you said, no matter what season, we always need to stay faithful and just pray and appreciate the things that, we have right now.
100%.
And, like, the more and more we get into habit with that, it's not going to come in a day or two or a week, whatever. But, like you said, the more and more that you put effort in it, the more and more that, we seek it, then, things are going to come like that.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to learn more and, like, grow more in the spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, a big thing with me is, like, I've been learning to seek more of the spirit instead of the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that has been, it's hard, obviously. Yeah. It's really hard, but, like, it feels rewarding.
100%.
Because, like, I feel so much more closer with God at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doing stuff like fasting. Like, I just did a fast. I feel great.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's just stuff like the little things like that. It's little, but, like, it's big at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. And when I say the biggest confidence builder in life, right, I've noticed is when you overcome, right? When you overcome that temptation, because that builds momentum.
Yeah.
That builds confidence in yourself, right? So like you said, if you're on that fast and you get hungry, but you get through that period, you're like, dang,
yeah,
what else can I do?
Yeah,
right? It builds confidence, and like you're building. When you get through that trial and tribulation that's in front of you, and all you was doing is praying and staying faithful and continuing to move, right? When you get through that, it's like,
and that's discipline,
right?
Yeah.
Discipline, right? But you look back and you're like, dang, that wasn't that bad. Like, you don't say, give me some more, but you're like, I got that. Like, like you're in your bag. You know what I mean? And like, I feel like that overcoming, like you were just talking about, like when we continue to pray, we continue to have faith, right? Because a lot of people say they have faith, but they don't really have faith, right? Because faith is the belief in the unseen and unheard. How the heck are you supposed to believe something that you don't see, you don't hear? Right? So a lot of people say, I have faith, I have faith, I have faith, I have faith. Right?
But when the trial comes.
Oh, I'm going to try to control the narrative.
Right.
But you just said you have faith. You have faith in the Heavenly Father, and He says He'll never leave us or forsake us. So what's the confusion now? You know what I mean? So when you put all that together, man, that F, there's an F word on earth and there's an F word there. That F word with God is powerful, right? That faith, right? We had another conversation. We were talking about the faith of a mustard seed. Right. You ever seen a mustard seed?
It's the tiniest seed ever.
So tiny, right? But God says mustard seed can move mountains. The faith of a mustard seed can move mountains. That's crazy. Yeah. Right? If you ever take a mustard seed and you look at that and you look at a mountain, ain't no way. Yeah. Right? It stands no chance. Right? But with our Heavenly Father, it all stands a chance. Yeah. Right? You just got to continue to stay in His Word, stay walking, stay prayed up. Yeah. Right? And have faith in the work. Right? You can't have one without the other. Faith without works is dead. Right? Yeah. That's something that was big on me. Like, I used to work so hard, right? So hard.
When I realized that, I was like, dang, so everything I'd done was pointless. But not like, I just got to add faith into it.
There you go. And it's never pointless because I feel like we never lose. We just learn if you take it from the right perspective, right? That's easier said than done, obviously. I mean,
I like that, yeah.
Yeah, you never lose. You just learn if you take it from the right perspective, because now you lost, all right, but now you never do it again if you took it from the right way, right? You learn, you make adjustments along the way to make yourself better. Yeah. Right? So I say there's dubs and L's. There is, but it's wins and learning for me. And as long as I'm learning, I'm gonna win eventually, right? But it's a choice in my mind I gotta make in order to learn. Am I gonna say, okay, I lost, let's break down where I could get better, right? Or am I gonna say, man, F this, I lost, like, I hate this.
It's all about your, like, winning mindset.
It's all about what you
and that goes with a lot with, like, if we sin, whatever. We sin every single day, obviously. But, like, we could either let that discourage us, let the enemy, like, mess with our brain, be like, no, you just sinned, God doesn't love you, like, all that stuff. Or we can just continue to just pray, because we're forgiven at the end of the day, and just continue to, like, move forward with that. Like, a while ago, like, I messed up big time on something, and I hated it. I hated myself for it, whatever. For, like, a whole week straight, I felt ashamed praying to God, whatever. But, like, I was reading, and, like, rereading Matthews, and I'm like, dang, like, he died for us.
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. He literally died for us. So like, what right do I have to beat myself up if he died for me?
Yeah.
You know, there's no excuse. I think it's just that love overpowers everything.
Yeah. But we like, and that's true. Like, a lot of us, we will like beat ourselves, because I know a lot of things I used to like just bury myself for, like bury it. You ever do something cringy and then like you go to sleep and you're like, oh, I can't even think about that, man, I really just did that. Like,
past, you knew me when I was little. I don't know what I was doing back then.
Yeah, but that little cringy thing is like, oh, I keep you up at night, like, oh, I really did that, right?
Yeah.
But it can feel like that when you sin, right? Like, dang, I really did that chunk. But there's forgiveness in all of that, right? Now, we can also take advantage of that, right? We can continue doing the wrong thing.
Oh, that's where it gets being comfortable in your walk with God. I always tell myself, like, when I pray, I'm like, Lord, allow me not to get comfortable, and for you to continue like teaching me more things, and like just keeping that in check. Because once we take that little step, or like do that listen to that one little song and be like, it's one song, like it'll do it. It becomes a habit.
That's complacency. Yeah, you become complacent in your walk, and I don't think that's what God wants from us at all, right? So I feel like you were saying, like, you listen to that one song, or that one song is bad. All right, cool. But hey, some people listen to the song and they fine. But for me, I know I can't. Certain times I can't do that. I'll turn on the song and I'll get that feeling. And I'll be like,
Yeah, it's like I was in a conversation with Ramon, my friend, the other day, and like we were saying how like cursing and everything. Like for me, it's realistically, like, obviously it slips out sometimes. You know, try not to, but like it took me 3 to 4 months to actually stop cursing. But like that came with like stop like listening to like, you know, worldly music and all that stuff. If I'm if I'm feeding myself that was my biggest thing. Like, oh, why is like worldly music so bad? It's like I can't keep on like seeking God, asking God, like, Lord, like allow me not to curse, like do all that stuff. Then I'm putting on Travis Scott, Lil Baby, Drake, you know, like
trash in, trash out.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I'm it's like two hitting each other. I gotta choose one.
There you go. Right. And there's I also believe there's a balance in that, right?
Yeah.
Like we can also, and this is just me, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I'm just being truly honest, right? There's a balance in all of that, right? You can God drown yourself to the point where you're not even aware of what happens in the world, right? Like, for example, like we could just God. Yes, that's great. But you also gotta have a balance to realize that, like, for example, my biggest pet peeve is a lot of people that are men of faith or women of faith and in the word, they believe we're supposed to be poor, right? Like, I notice a lot of people, they'll be like, man, God took this from me, man, but it's okay, like I gotta rely on God for this or God for that, and but God does not want us to be poor, right? He does not want us to. No matter
what circumstance we're in, we're supposed to continue to praise God.
Yeah,
poor or rich or not.
Exactly, and that's the thing. They're like, God doesn't want us to have that, right? God doesn't want us to have that, right? Say if you get a job interview and like, tonight, God doesn't want me to have that. He may not want you to have that right now, but look just turn a little bit to the left. He wants you to have all of that, right? But we stopped chasing that dream because that one door was shut. Right? I'm not saying poor necessarily materialistically, mentally, because I feel like rich and poor is all based on the mental, right? There are billionaires that kill themselves. To me, they're poor because they're not even mentally sane to even take care of the billion, right? So I feel like wealth is your health and your peace, right? So there can be a man with $1 that's wealthy and a man with $1 billion is poor, if you ask me, right? Obviously, we're going to take the $1 billion for speaking worldly, right?
Yeah.
But if you ask me, right? So it's like that door was shut. Boop. Just look right to the left. There's more opportunity over there. But sometimes we think, that door was shut. God doesn't want me to have that, right? No. Keep moving.
We shut our own doors. Yeah.
Sometimes keep moving. Keep finding that next thing. It's not that He don't want you to have that. He can want you to have more than that. Right? There could be this job that wants you to do this, this, and this, and that could be your dream job, and He shuts that for you, right? You're down bad, right? But just turn a little bit to the left, breathe a little bit. He wants you to have that job and more. He wants you to be that job's boss, right? So like for me, it's like sometimes when those doors may not open how they were supposed to, like for example in hoops, that door didn't open how it was supposed to for me. I felt like it was shut. Bam. Right? Quick. Brick wall. Couldn't get through. Right? Tried over and over again. Right? Almost to a fault. Right? So, but I didn't even turn to the left a little bit to realize how blessed I was on the outside. I got a family that loves me. I got a brain, right? I can think, right? I'm pretty good at certain things, right?
Yeah.
So I can do X, Y, and Z. And if you ask me, this path I couldn't have written any better for me. You know what I mean? I couldn't have written any better. Like to be able to get into the field I wanted to get into, graduate when I wanted to, right? I couldn't have written that any better, right? But that was me coming back and listening to some people that I trust.
Yeah.
My father, couple other voices, right? Saying like, Dexter, just move a little bit to the left, right? What you worried about the orange ball for, right? It did what it was supposed to do. You got what you were supposed to get out. You got the lessons. You got the life lessons. You made lifelong friendships. Like you got everything it was gonna give to you.
Yeah.
Take that same intensity and that drive and move it over here. Sky's the limit. Right? So for me, that was like that door shut. Bomb.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh, I guess I'm gonna be a hermit. Right? But little did I know, you move to the left with sunshine, right?
There's more.
There's sunshine. It's gonna be a little mucky at times, a little muddy water, but it's gonna come at the end of the road is sunshine if you just continue to move through it and move and learn through it, right? You don't want to just go through the motions, right? You want to learn through it.
Yeah.
Everything that happens, take something from it, right? Like think in your mind like, all right, this is a little tough right here, right? This is a little tough, but what's the result of me getting through this? What happens when I get through that? I love to think about that. Like that's why I like working out still. I love doing a really hard workout, seeing it and being like, man, this is impossible. But thinking about what happens at the end of this, right? I'm gonna feel so hyped, like I got through that. I'm gonna do double that tomorrow. Right? Because that builds confidence, that breeds that inner, like I call it dog, right? That inner dog. Like, and that's one thing that I feel like I'm starting to apply it and channel it in a different way, right? Because to me, with God on my side, I'm unstoppable, I'm irreplaceable, I'm immovable, right?
Praise God.
Nothing
Cool.
can get to me, right? As long as I continue to stay that. Now, saying that is very powerful words because there's gonna be some things that's gonna try you, right?
You gotta back your words up,
right? You gotta stay in that, stay steady, stay on that line, right? Turn on that gospel music, right? Feed that energy to yourself.
That's why like I have a lot of respect for you because you back your words up. You add like action. You're not just all talk. You add action behind it.
Appreciate
that.
that.
Yeah, but that's big because like not everyone does that.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people do that at all.
Yeah. So when that happens, man, like you just gotta stay grounded and keep it moving, like and stay connected, right? Have that relationship. Don't just let it be a religion, right?
Yeah.
Have that relationship. Have that open conversation. And
Don't just let it be a religion.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Talking
about with like worship music, I've been like very iffy on like certain tips, like such as like things like Christian rap or something like that. Like I think if it doesn't pull you away from God, then it's okay. But like, what's your thoughts on like certain kinds of music?
You're talking about certain kinds of music as in like in your service or like as far as just in your free time?
I guess in general, it's like whatever like the healthiest way you think that you could apply yourself with like worship music, I would say.
Well, if we're talking about everyday life, to me, like, what drives you. Like, if you're trying to move, like some people, like, for me, I know this just works for me though, right? And I had to figure that out for myself, right? There's one thing I can say is if it brings you peace and you have peace with it, That's what it is, right? But there's a verse in the Bible in Romans, right, that your sister actually showed me. And it basically says, like, or I think I showed her, I don't know, but it basically says, like, if you're told something, right, or I forget, don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
I gotta find it, right? I believe it's in Romans.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but I remember it. Basically, if you're knowledgeable of something, right, and someone shows you proof and evidence, and you believe it, and it's in the Word, and you don't listen to it, you're worse off than you were before.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah, because you're denying the word. It's the truth.
You're
denying
full denial of the truth.
Yeah.
Right? And God spits on that more than an individual who doesn't even know.
That's the thing. Good. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because, like, I don't believe my thoughts on this. If someone hasn't had, like, a true encounter with God, like, I say Jesus, because God can go into so many other entities, but if someone hasn't had a true encounter with Jesus and they die, I don't think they're going to be sent to hell, because though they're sinning, they're not aware of it. Yeah, it's like I don't think you could be judged if you're not aware, if you know what you're doing. And now, if you're aware, you know what you're doing, and you, like you said, you continue to deny the truth and be disobedient, then you're being, in a way, you're being very cocky. Yeah,
you're in denial of the blatant truth.
You got it.
And I think that this is Romans 14, but I don't think this is the one I'm looking for. But it's okay. Thank you though. I agree with you on that. Like, I don't know that, right? Because there's certain things that none of us can answer, right? There's only one answer, and that's God. And you have some questions to ask him, right? I can't answer that, right, for everybody. But I know, as for me and mine, and what I believe, and what brings me peace, right? There's another thing. I don't know everything. Right. I'll never know everything, and nobody else will know everything. And if they tell you that, they're lying, right? I believe that a lot of people have more knowledge and wisdom,
100%,
right? But wisdom comes with age and time, right? But I'll never know everything. I'll never know the answer to everything, and I'm not even going to try to know the answer to everything, because I won't. There's only one person that knows the answer to everything, right? Yeah. So I can't sit here and say whether this is correct, incorrect, the music that you listen to, the actions that you take every single day. I'm not supposed to be the judge of that at the end of the day, right? I can tell you it's wrong according to the Word, but whatever decision you make after that is on you. Yeah. Right? And that's the same vice versa. If I'm doing something and someone comes to me, hey, this is incorrect, what you doing? That's the decision I got to make, right? But in the back of my mind, also, it's 2 Timothy 2:15 says, study for thyself, right? So we can go to church, we can listen, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you got to study for yourself, right? Understand the Word for yourself. Interpret it yourself. Take your own notes, right? There are people in place.
At that point, it's not personal.
No, it's not. And there are people in place that have more wisdom, maybe more knowledge, have studied further, have heard more opinions that can help you out and maybe cultivate and answer some questions that you may not be able to answer by yourself. But at the end of the day, that's between you and God. Yeah. Right? There's some pastors that or preachers that may have some questions, right? They can't answer all your questions, right? And if one tells you they can, they're lying, right? Because there are certain questions that we cannot answer, right? The Bible is a script, and every script is interpreted a different way. Yeah. Now
but that's why I like how it says, like, iron sharpens iron. Like, your interpretation, my interpretation, though it's different, we can learn from each other. Exactly. That's why, and that's where I feel like the true understanding comes from, because, like, if we're all in Christ, you know, our different opinions, interpretations come as one, and we could agree on something. Yeah. There have been a lot I don't like using the word debates or, like, arguments, even though it might sound like one. If someone doesn't agree with something, it's simply just a conversation. We all believe in the same God, no matter what, Jesus. But, like, people can have different denominations, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Obviously, like, you know, if that's where they want to, what they want to put their faith into, then that's what they do. Yeah, for sure. But, like, at the end of the day, I truly do think if we're all seeking Jesus, then we're saved no matter what, because we have that faith.
Yeah, I mean, that can go in like different realms, again, like that for me is like everybody has their own thought process of how it goes. Everybody studies for yourself, and as long as you can go to sleep at night knowing that like this is what I know and this is what I studied, then that's what's right for you. You know what I mean? Like, I am not the one to sit here and judge, right? Because I can tell you about 3 things I did wrong this morning. Yeah. like just off the head, right? And so who am I to sit here and judge? Who am I to call out somebody else, right? Yeah. I'm not anybody worth that, right? Who am I? I'm just another follower. I'm just another brother in Christ, right? Yeah. So for me, like, I can't sit here and judge you on that, because look where I came from. Yeah. Right? It kills me when people sit back in the church and they be like, oh, can you believe they did this?
So it's like, if you're perfect, then tell me what to do. But that's why I can tell none of us are perfect. Yeah, like, you know, we all mess up, we all sin. Like, it's like the story where, like, you know, Jesus with the lady casting the stones and everything. Like, you know, like, if you didn't sin or mess up, whatever, then, like, you know, you can throw the stone. But, like, everyone dropped the stone because they all sinned. Yeah, you know, like, it's just like with that, like. Yeah, no, a lot of people, that's why, like, you know, being judgmental, I try my best not to, even though my flesh wants to. I have to, like, you know, tell myself, like, nah, like, I have no right to judge. Yeah. I'm just as bad as they are.
Exactly, you know? Right? So, like, for me, it's like, the people who sit up there and, like, oh, you're horrible, you did this, like, bro, I just saw you your car parked in the strip club last night. Like, what are you doing? Like, just things like that, you know what I mean? And I just believe that you can't always there's no 100% right or wrong. Now, there are black and white verses, right, where I don't understand how people interpret it differently, but that's them, right? But I cannot sit here and judge another individual, because I have my battles, I have my struggles every single day. Yeah. Right? And if I sit here and tell you I don't have any, I'm lying. Yeah. Right? Everybody got battles. It could be as simple as, man, I just chose this dessert. Right? No, seriously. I just ate 4 cookies. But the Bible says you're supposed to treat our body as a temple. That's not treating your body as a temple.
It's slothfulness.
And that's gluttony. Right? Gluttony, yeah. So, like, if we really wanted to break it down like that, I'm about to glutton later. It's 4th of July. I'm about to eat. Yeah. Right? But who am I to judge anybody else? You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, in myself, if I can go to sleep at peace with myself and with God, you can't argue against that. No, right? Because that's at the end of the day, that's between your soul and God.
I feel a lot of people judge because, like, and I'm guilty of this, like, when I first started my walk in Christ, I was on fire, and I was like, I thought I knew it all, like, all that stuff. I got humbled, but, like, you know, like, I was, like, telling my friends about the gospel, and, like, I was, like, telling my friends about the gospel, and, like, I was, like, teaching them about it, but I was still, at the time, like, really, really, like, a baby in Christ. So I didn't know anything, realistically, whatever. I just knew Jesus died on the cross for me. I'm saved. Cool. I got baptized. Awesome. And I was on fire. I was trying to share the good news. But, like, I was being a know-it-all instead of just, like, you know, sitting back, relaxing. And, like, instead of sharing the good news, I was, like, shoving it down their throat. Oh, yeah. And that's a really big problem, I feel like, today, especially with, like, you know, like, a lot of parents with their kids, like, you know, my mom, like, she did that with me and Taylor, like, whatever. But it's like, it's so hard and unfortunate that, like, how Jesus is just misinterpreted by so many people based off of religion and not what it actually is, which is their relationship. People don't know that, which sucks.
Yeah. It's saying how it's pushed on, like, down people's throats, like, 100%, like, and that's the thing, like, as us, like, I had to learn that too recently, like, very recently. Like, I cannot push something down you, and you probably learned that before I did, right? Like, I cannot force anybody to, you know, like, I can tell you, but, like, it's literally a sin for me to push it down your throat.
It says not everyone has the eyes to see and the ears to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, like us as Christians, we're doing our job by spreading the good news, you know, planting the seeds, evangelizing. But like at the end of the day, it's God who waters it. Yeah. You know, like we can't do that, but we're doing our part.
One, brother. That was good. God who waters it. I like that.
Yeah. But like we can't, you know, do that in anything. We can have the faith and pray about it. But it matters, like you said, like we have our own free will. If that person seeks it, you gotta want it at the end of the day. If you don't want it, then you're not gonna get it. So,
and that goes back to my point earlier. Remember how I was saying how we can pray for certain things, how you were saying like my childhood, and like that's what I'm saying. It all comes full circle for me. Because like you said, if you want it, you're gonna do what's necessary to get it. Yeah. Right. That's how I felt about sports. Right. Apply the same thing with God, right? If you want that relationship, if you want that walk, if you want those blessings that God has for you, right? It's gonna be some things you're gonna have to cut loose. That's pretty hard, right? So there's sacrifices that come along with that, right? You said you want this, though. This is what you prayed for. It's here now, right? It's gonna be a little scary, right? But don't fear, right? I have 2 acronyms for fear: false evidence appearing real. Face everything and rise.
Dang.
Right?
Yeah.
Jimbo Fisher said face everything and rise. I can't lie. I got that from you, Jimbo. But those 2 acronyms right there, false evidence appearing real, right? We fear stuff that's not even happened yet.
Yeah. That's like, I don't understand.
It hasn't even happened. Why are you scared? Like, it hasn't even happened.
I know.
Right? And then face everything and rise. If it's a possibility, it still hasn't happened. Yeah. But face it head forward. If you turn your back, it's just gonna tap you on your back, right? Yeah. You gotta face that junk head first.
And I like to like apply it with anything. Like, there's been a time like, though, like the things that I don't know, the unknown right now, it's scary, whatever. But a year ago, the things that I didn't know, I look back, I'm like, oh, that wasn't too bad. That's how I want to like interpret the things that I'm facing now.
100%.
We're like, okay, like it's scary, but I know at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? That wasn't too bad. It was okay. It's just a little like step on the road.
You know what that is? That's that confidence I was talking about. Once you get through something, it breeds confidence. Because now the next time it comes back, it's like, all right, I know this is going to be tough, but I know it happened last time. So let me just stick to the script. Yeah. Right? Going through that first initial triumph or that first initial tribulation is just builds confidence, right? Now the next one might be a little tougher. Yeah. Right? And tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher.
That's how you build. You get stronger.
But you building, right? Rome wasn't built in a night. Great Wall of China wasn't built in a night, right? It was brick by brick, right? This house that we sit in was not built in a night. Brick by brick. Sometimes it's going to take a long time to put one brick in the ground. Yeah. But as long as you get that brick in the ground and you're willing to go grab the next one, that house is going to be built sooner or later. Right? Yeah. So like, and I don't know what's happening right now, but that was kind of a bar.
Yeah, that was. It was like a walking quote.
But no matter what happens, you're going to build that house, right? If you just keep moving, right? So for me, it's like that brick might get heavy. You may not have the tools necessary, but you got the one tool that if you want it, you can have it, right?
God.
Right? Yeah. He'll move anything for you. Mustard seed can move mountains. Yeah. Right? So that brick may be heavy, but you got to continue to try to pick it up every day. Every day.
And I feel like adding like confidence and faith together, at that point you're unstoppable. That's what I strive to have every single day. I could pray for patience, wisdom, and those things can come to me, not the way I'd interpret it or want it to come, but like I feel like as long as I'm praying for faith and working with it, then, you know, it says in Proverbs 3, it says, trust in the Lord, He shall direct your paths. You know, as long as I'm doing that, then no matter what, things are going to be scary, but like I still have that faith. Yeah. At that point, it's like, all right, I shouldn't worry about it. I know it's in God's hands, so the best I can do is just continue to go.
There you go. Like bro, there's so many things in this world, if you really think about it, that we could worry about. Like, if you really wanted to freak yourself out about it, like, me personally, like, I had a lot of anxiety, right? But I didn't even know it was anxiety. I didn't even believe in it, right?
I don't believe in anxiety. I think it's from the enemy.
Yeah.
I know, like, it's a feeling, you know, like we all get. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like as long as, like, and it sucks because a lot of people don't have God in their life to lean onto. It's like if there's no God in your life, then that's when anxiety is real.
100%.
But it's false when you're walking with Christ.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's not that you won't have it at all, because we're human.
Yeah.
We're human. We make human mistakes. Like, we're not supernatural, right? So we will have anxiety. It's just, can you compartmentalize where this is anxiety, but I know my God got it, right? Like, we can't control, like, you can control your feelings, but you can't control, like, all right, like, I'm nervous about this.
Yeah,
like, for example, I'm nervous to take my CPA exam this upcoming year. Like, I'm nervous. I have mad anxiety about it. But at the end of the day, I know what's for me is for me, right? God already got it written, right? There's a reason why he led me to this point to even think of that, to be able to have the resources
I
for
also
that.
know there's stuff like that. Like, feelings are beautiful. Sad, like, happy, no matter what. If we didn't have feelings, then I really don't think there wouldn't be a reason to seek God. If you really think about that, you know, like, at that point, you're a robot.
True.
You know?
I mean, shoot, they're already trying to make us robots. They firing everybody, all human power, and making robots. So that's what they're trying to do.
But, like, you know, like, if I wasn't happy, I wouldn't be praising God, celebrating with God. If I wasn't sad, then I wouldn't be coming to him when I'm in trouble. You know, like,
facts.
It's just those little things like that. Having feelings, emotions is a blessing itself.
100%. And that's true. I never even thought about that. That's true, because what would have led you down that path? Like, would have made you feel that way in order to do such a thing? You know what I mean? And I never thought of it that way, but that's facts. Yeah, that's facts. I never even thought of it that way, but that's true. Like, if you don't feel bad or sad or happy or whatever it is, like, what's going to lead you to talk to something that you didn't even see? Right? Like, we can't see our feelings, but we feel our feelings, if that makes sense. So what's going to lead you to...
You can't see our feelings, we can feel our feelings. I like that. Yeah. That's the same thing with faith, though. Exactly. We can't see it, but we can feel it.
Yeah, you can feel it. Like, you can feel that junk. So, like, you can't, like... And you can't deny it. Yeah. Like, right? Like, you can't deny that feeling of testosterone when you get that a promotion at work. You come home like, right? Or you pass that test you've been studying for hours. You come home like Superman, right? That feeling, that momentum, right? Same thing with our faith, right? When we believe in that unseen, and then we finally see what we were believing in that was unseen, that everybody else told you couldn't have. You celebrate it up. But there's a difference, right? I learned I can't just be like, I'm him, right? He's him, right? And that's where the maturation process comes into spreading his gospel, right? I pray something every night. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is, but like similar to it, like, God, I promise you, I know this is written. I know what you have for my life, but I promise you, every single time along the way, you're getting all the glory, all the honor. I'm bringing more and more people to you, left and right, because you got me here. Without you, I would not be here.
That's like, you're missing out so much, because, like, say you got, you know, like, God's blessed you with, like, your dreams or whatever you want. Like you said, like, you're celebrating, you know, like, bringing people left to right, because you're saying, I didn't do this on my own, it was all God. People are going to start to be curious about that. If you were like, oh, I did it on my own, like, whatever, you're like idolizing yourself, and, like, you know, no one's gonna get the opportunity to see what God has done in your life because you took all the glory.
Exactly. And then there's that time where, because I heard something from an employee one time, he told me, you got to look at life like weather. He was like, he's like, you can look outside and you can see it's sunny, right? Everything's good. It's blah, 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 blah. It's awesome. You're on the beach. You chilling, right? But when that Category 5 hurricane comes, you going to be on that beach? Nope. You're going to be inside, right? But he was like, you have to look at life like there's going to be storms. There's going to be sunshine. Just put on your armor, right? You know, you can see when a storm's about to come up. We know when a storm's about to come up in Florida, right? We know when a hurricane. Right. We got to put up our shutters. We got to run our generator. We got to get water, get food, all that stuff. We prepare, right? Preparation for when it comes, right? So for me, it's like life is going to have its storms. It's going to have its sunshine, right? Just every single day, just be ready with your armor.
No matter what season you're in, just
no
be
matter
prepared.
what season it is, be thankful in it, right? Be thankful that you even got the armor to battle that. But it's temporary because that sunshine coming, right? But don't get too high in that sunshine because that storm might come right back. Just stay grounded and keep moving straight, right? If we're on a straight and narrow path, right? You can waste so much energy doing this that you're not even moving forward. Yeah. You're just so emotional, wrapped up in every single little thing that happens. Yeah. Like, if you see that storm coming, fine. If you know that when you go home, someone's going to yell at you, fine. Put on your armor. Be willing to listen. Yeah. Make sure they're done with their emotions. Move forward, right? Don't put too much stock in that. Because does that really matter that they're yelling at you? Yeah. No. They're just... I look at it this way. They're passionate about you. They love you. They care for you. Take it as that. Cut the meat from the fat. Yeah. Right? One thing my dad told me, right? You're like a walking quote. There's just so many things that people have told me throughout the years and replay in my head. There's another, like, my grandfather also was very big in that, right? Rest in peace, his soul. But he was also very big in, like, words and wisdom and knowledge, right? He told me one thing when I was younger. He goes, son, make sure you think with your big head, not your little head, right? But as I got older, that I understood, like, what that meant, right?
What does he mean by that?
Like, think with your brain. Okay. Right? Yeah. As men, we're all our yes.
Just hit me. I was thinking like heart head. I'm like, oh.
No. As men, we're all like, we're one of the biggest
Don't be
things.
Silly with your willy.
Yeah.
Right, you're the person who told me that for the first time.
But it's like, don't, like, there's 3 things that kill a man. I mean, 2 things that kill a man. It's greed and women. Right? It'll kill you. Right? So think with this before you think with, you know what I mean? Anything else, right? So I didn't make sense to me when I was 9.
When you were 9?
9, outside of Smoothie King. I'll never forget it. Right? After school, he took me to Smoothie King. He said, son, make sure you think with your big head, not your little head.
By Smoothie King? What happened at Smoothie King?
Listen, that was a staple. I used to love Smoothie King. I used to get the Mango Delight. It's fire. Yeah. Fire. But, like, things like that, like, it resonates with me. Right. Right? And so that wisdom started from him, right? And one thing I've expressed, my dad has expressed, and he has expressed when he was alive was, man, we got to keep this legacy going, right? Every single Hamilton that comes along has to get better. That's true generational wealth, right? When every single generation gets better, right? We're leveling up. That is the true definition of generational wealth. Money comes and goes. People hit the lotto today and be broke in a year. Yeah. Right? So it's gonna come and go. It's material. Yeah. That really doesn't matter. It does. But, like, the stock that you invest in, your mental capacity, your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, right? That matters. Right? The everything else is gonna come and go, man. It's gonna come, but, like, one thing that I can say, like, I have really, like, learned is, like, man, like, you can't put too much stock in worrying, right? Just be very worrisome about everything. Like,
it's like you reap what you sow.
Yeah.
If your attention is based off of worrying, most likely you're gonna continue worrying. You're going to let that corrupt you. But if your attention is based off, winning, you're gonna do whatever it takes to win.
A professor told me one time, he was like, how many of you guys have your life planned out for the next 10 years? I shot up my hand. Right? And then he was like, I'm going to tell you, cancel it. And I was like, what? He was like, because. He was like, bro, he said, you realize how many people 5 years ago I asked if they had their next 10 years of their life planned and they all shot their hand up, then COVID happened? Yeah. He was like, you can't put too much stock into what's going to happen 5 years from now, 8 years from now. Yes, you have a plan. But day by day, right? Brick by brick, every single day. Just focus on going 1-0. Yeah. Right? Don't focus on going 2,065-0 because you're going to lose. Right? But is the loss or the lesson?
There's a verse on that. It says, like, focus on today. Or, like, don't focus on tomorrow.
It says,
or yesterday's problem, something like that.
Yes, it says, today has its own problems of itself. Do not focus on, basically, don't focus on tomorrow. Focus on today because tomorrow's going to have its own problems. Right? So... And yeah, I saw that after he said that,
Yeah.
right? And I was thinking like 10 years down the line, trying to line up salaries, line up this, line up that. Like, you'll go crazy thinking about that stuff. So
that too with me, like, I don't like that question personally. Go, where do you see in the next 5 years? Like, it's good to have a plan, but like, add that plan with God. Then something will happen.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Because if we're just going based off our plan, then like we don't know. Like,
but that's something I gotta continue to get better with. That comes with maturation process every single day. Like, all of this stuff I'm talking about, like, is a daily battle. Like, I don't win every single day. I hope I do, right? I wake up every day feeling good. I get that workout in. I'm ready. Let's attack, right? Some days might end in some lessons, but will I get that lesson, or will I just see the loss, right? I gotta make sure I get that lesson, so the next day that situation comes up, that day will end in a win, right? So for me, it's like there's a lot of things that there's a lot of life for me to live. I'm 23 years old, right? There's a lot of life for me to live. Lord willing, I hope he continues to bless, put air in my lungs every morning. But it's just all a learning process, bro. And
it's life, though.
Yeah, like,
no matter what age, you're always gonna learn.
Yeah, and when you stop learning, you lose. So for me, it's like, as long as I continue to keep moving and continue to move on the right track, and I continue to learn, I'll be all right. Right? There's a lot of things. There's a lot of stock that's invested in me. There's a lot of things that I've learned over my 23 years on this earth. Well, I don't even know, like, really the first 7, because I wasn't even aware. But, like, you get what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's just everyday learning stuff. You know what I mean, man? Like, every single day, like, what did you learn from today? Did you win today? Pray at night. Write your goals down, right? Study the word. Be firm in your principles, right? In your foundation. When what do you lean on, right? For me, I lean on, well, I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of new, right? I lean on God 100%. Before I used to lean on my work ethic, right? But now I lean on God and my work ethic. I also lean on God, work ethic, and my family, right? What do you lean on? Get those building blocks, right? Boom, 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 boom. Before you build a house, you got to have a base. You got to have something that you're going to build upon it. Right? So you got to have that strong foundation, that immovable foundation. And the only immovable foundation I know of is God. Everything else might fail you.
Yeah.
I'm not even say might. It probably will eventually, because humans make mistakes and you can't control
the heart is deceitful.
There you go. So you never know.
Yeah.
But the only thing I can trust in 100,000%, and it'll never fail me, is God.
Yeah.
So as long as you have that strong foundation and you're searching that and you're looking to further edify your mind and rejuvenate and continue to grow in that every single day, you'll be all right. It may be a little tough, right? You're going to have the moments, but as long as you understand, like, man, this is part of the process, right? Like I said, Rome was built overnight. Where China was built overnight. Like, all that stuff was built overnight. It took time, right?
Yeah.
There's some things might have gone wrong, right? But as long as you continue with that goal in mind, you continue to keep the main thing, and keep that forefront, you'll be all right. But it might be hell and high water sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
there's a little fun in that, though.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, at the end of the day, we look back and, like, that was fun.
Yeah.
You know?
You there's different mixed emotions you could get from it, right? You could look back and be like, the sick thing is, it's like when people ride that roller coaster and they're like literally crying before they get on the roller coaster, and then they get off and like, let's do it again.
Oh, I did that the other day. I went in the slingshot.
I saw that. You're crazy.
That was fun.
That's crazy.
I would do that again.
Hey, that's nuts. Me personally, I have never done anything like that, and I do not plan on doing anything like that. That just sounds insane.
Yeah.
I saw you going, good. I just skipped through the video. I don't even want to see it anymore. Like, bro, your heart must have been in your feet.
Yeah.
Nah. Did you throw up after?
No. I wanted to go again, honestly.
See?
Yeah.
Crazy. But before about it, you were probably like, I don't know if I want to do this. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, man, you go into some trial and tribulation, man, I don't really know if I want to do this. You get through it.
Yeah.
How sick is it that you're like, all right, let's do it again.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, you were like, I don't know if I want to do this, right? Same thing in life.
Yeah.
You may hit something, I don't know if I want to do this, but you know what? Let's attack it, right? Do it, right? There's beauty in that. So it's like, for me, it's like, I get to that point, build that, and then you just attack everything with that same mindset. It's easier said than done, though, right? Like, I sit here and I say this, yes, but I still struggle with it every day. Yeah. Every single day. I need constant reminders, right? Constant support, constant love. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, that is what I'm building upon, right? I believe in nothing else but that, right? So as long as I keep that at the forefront, I'm gonna be all right, right? And I feel that about like a lot of things, man. And that's pretty much it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow. I knew you had wisdom, bro. I knew. I was like, dang. That's great. You're giving walking quotes.
I wouldn't even say it's wisdom, bro. I would say, like, I'm truly blessed to have so many great minds around me every day, right? I'm blessed for the experiences I've had, and I'm blessed for the people in my life, right? Because wisdom is through experiences. Yeah. A lot of the things that I know and have said or might know isn't even through experiences. God has just blessed me in order to have great people in my life, right? And I feel like that is an extreme blessing that not everybody has, right?
100%. Yeah.
One thing I pray for when I go to sleep is I pray for knowledge, power, understanding. It's knowledge, power, understanding, but I don't pray for wisdom, right?
Because that comes with it.
It might come with it, right? That's gonna come whether you like it or not. But I definitely pray for knowledge, power, and understanding, and the ability to interpret that, right? So for me, like, I feel like God provides knowledge around me. Yeah. He provides like that vessel that I need to tell something, and he also provides me his word in order to understand it, and people around me to help me further understand it, right? So for me, I feel like it's not all like wisdom. I can't take credit for it. I can't. I'd be lying. Yeah. Right? It's through the word, through my father, through my grandfather, through a lot of the people, right? So get the credit for it at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it's God who gets the credit for putting them in my life. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even say it's me. It ain't even me. It's just, I'm just extremely blessed for the situation I'm in, and the people that are in my life. Like, wouldn't change it for the world. You know what I mean? Couldn't have written a better book. Right? So I feel like that alone is just kind of like me where I'm at. Like my people and my surroundings is everything. The energy you surround yourself with, right? Your friends, who you let in your inner circle, right? Yeah. Your green room, I call it your green room, right? So whoever you let in your green room is powerful, right? They gonna know the ins and outs of what you're thinking. They gonna know a lot of things that everybody outside that green room may not know. And I'm honestly can say my green room is excellent, right? Further than I could ever imagine. At times, that green room get a little emotional because they might tell you some things you don't want to hear. Yeah. Right? They might tell you where you're wrong. We need to improve. That's when it's like, why are you calling me out? Yeah. But you need that at that moment. Exactly. And later on, if you're man enough or woman enough to go back and say, you know what, you were right. I needed that and I appreciate that. That's what it's about. Yeah. Making each other better around you. You know what I mean? Like today, you told me something that made me better. You didn't even know. Right? Like you told me something that made me like think further, like just to add more to what I already know. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's just part of the learning curve. So for me, it's like the people in my life, like I'm blessed to be able to sit here and talk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like everything is just a blessing, dog. Yeah. A blessing. Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, so that's it. Yeah. Tell me about it. Yeah. Thank you so much.
No problem,
this
brother.
This is awesome. Do you want to leave any social media, anything like that, whatever?
I mean,
any plug?
My social media is on private, but yeah, I don't really. I like social media, but you can put my tag on it. Can you like edit it? Yeah, you can put my tag on it. You can just put it there and. I'll accept what I want. But, but
keep the community small.
Yeah. But I appreciate the opportunity to talk on your podcast. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys learned from something. Remember, Jesus loves you and he wants a relationship with you. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.